It's interesting that he's writing it at about the time he is. When we say writing it, it's probably a history that has taken shape over a generation and more. There are stories of Herodotus going around giving lectures, giving public performances, particular extracts doubtless perhaps, then that it just takes shape over 25, 30 years, but it gets its final form sometime, shall we say, in the 420s, something like that, where Greece is once again at war, with Athens fighting Sparta in what was to be a 27-year-long war. Herodotus couldn't know how that war was going to end, but it was obviously an absolutely massive thing. Now, it's also a time when people were looking back at the Persian Wars, the great Greek repulse of Persia. It's at a time where we can tell it was almost a romanticized view of it, certainly an idealized view of it. This was the finest hour. It was the few against the many. It's rhetoric that is very familiar to us. It was a fighting for a great cause, that of freedom. With Athens in particular playing a leading role. We can see in other authors a lot of rhetoric of the beacon of freedom, where Athens gave a lead, how could others fail to follow? And Herodotus, well, provides, if not a totally revisionist history, certainly a history that wouldn't be quite what people people were expecting by then. One thing to remember about the way Herodotus presents the fighting of this most glorious moment is that some parts of it aren't very glorious at all. It's particularly that Greek infighting that's always there, that perpetual danger that the Greek alliance may break up. It is always there. You can see it in the discussions before Salamis. The thing that really weighs with Themistocles, when he talks first of all to his own old tutor, old friend Nicephilus, and then weighs in what he puts to the Spartan admiral Eurybiades, is that if we don't fight here, everybody will go their own way. The alliance will break up. He knows he can't say that because it would be too confrontational, too provocative in the assembly of all the different states. He comes up with a second best argument, the strategic argument, that it's much better to fight them in the straits. And ironically, that turns out to be absolutely right and crucial to the Greek success. But it's not what the main argument is. And it's also, again, an irony, but a telling one, that what finally decides that debate is the threat that Themistocles and the Athenians will simply up and go. They will take all their ships. They will sail away to Italy. And that is effective as a debating counter simply because it is so very, very plausible. It could easily happen. That perpetual threat of fragmentation is the downside of liberty. Liberty gives you the inspirational power, and that's true too. It's the people fighting for themselves feel a commitment that is very, very distinctive of a free country. But it's got all the downsides as well. It could so easily go wrong.